Okay, so this is like take 557
33, yep.
because we're having a little bit of a technical problem today in that my iPhone has kept cutting in and out because it was run out of storage. And anyway, so much so that it cut off. We hadn't realised because we were chatting so much. It took off the end of us actually doing the baking. So the biscuits have now been in the oven. We baked them at 160 or 180 if you haven't got a fan oven, 20 minutes, and they've come out and they're looking lovely. These are Geraldine's, slightly bigger than mine. What we've done is we've turned half of them over because we're going to put some cream in the middle. And I was actually just in the middle of making some cream. And this is simple buttercream, but it's got icing sugar, butter, which I've softened in the microwave, and it's got some coconut, and it's got some peppermint extract. And we're just going to mix all that together. You could put some green colouring in if you wanted to, but we're just going to leave it. So you were telling us again about the scary pub. So tell us about the scary
pub.
Yeah.
I think, Deborah, this is your favourite story from my whole trip.
It is.
The scary pub, and nothing to do with the fact that it was in East Yorkshire. So by the time I got to Yorkshire, I had a bit of a routine. I was camping a lot of the time, and my routine would be to rock up to the village pub at the end of whatever I thought was the end of today. Sometimes that was lunchtime. And I would order a drink, and I would chat to the staff and just ask, is there somewhere I could camp around here? And that was where I invariably ended up camping in pub grounds, pub gardens. They would let me camp there. Some customers would say, oh, come and camp in my garden. And other customers even said, never mind the garden, I've got a perfectly good spare room. Come in, have your dinner, have a shower, here's your breakfast and a packed lunch, and set off the next day. So that was me being kidnapped with kindness.
Yeah.
So the pub routine in East Yorkshire, I did the same. I went in, I sat, I ordered a drink, and I said to the young chap, somewhere I can camp around here. And the look of horror on his face, I just assumed he'd never camped before, and why would anybody want to camp? And maybe after about 5 or 10, he did say, I'll have to speak to the boss. I didn't know who the boss was, but yeah, fine. And about 10 minutes later, a voice from behind my shoulder, somebody sort of leaned down and said, you don't want to be camping around here, love. You wouldn't be safe. And it was only then that I saw a huge big burly man walk back around the bar and sit back down his seat. He never said another word to me.
This is all just whisked up nicely.
Nice.
I put a little bit of milk in it because it just seemed a little bit too thick. But yeah.
And it's nice and white.
Yes, nice and white.
Yeah.
And it tastes nice and minty. Can you? I'll just get these two piping bags. So we may as well pipe them because I think these are cool enough to pipe. So we'll pipe these.
How do you know how much to pipe?
So you just kind of put this kind of dollop, yeah?
A dollop?
And the easiest way,
a 5p dollop or a 10p dollop?
A piping bag is to put it in a jug first, and then I'll just put a dollop in there. You see, you thought you were just going to get away with just watching.
I just was watching. I wasn't working, but
just put a dollop in there. Spatulas are great for actually getting
clean everything, don't they?
Last little bit. And then just get your piping bag. Have you piped? Oh, of course you piped. You've made wedding cakes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and this doesn't have to be neat because nobody will see this. Yeah. So carry on telling us about your.
So the man had leaned down and said, "You don't want to be camping around here, love. You won't be safe." And it was only at that point, I'd been in this pub maybe 15 minutes already, that I suddenly saw the pub and the characters in a different light that I hadn't spotted before. The three chaps that were sitting closest to me, one had more tattoos than the other from the fingertips of their neck.
Right.
And I can lip read, and I was able to lip read them sort of commented on my trailer and said, "Oh, that looks like a nice bit of kit. I wonder what's in there." And it was maybe another 5 minutes before the boss appeared. A woman who came from behind the bar, and she just said, "Get your stuff, follow me." And I got my trailer and gladly followed her into the back. It was even more dilapidated round the back. And she said, "Can you be out of here by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning?" Yeah. And she said, "Well, there's a room upstairs. You can have the room." She said, "But you have to be out by 9 o'clock and you have to go down the external fire stairs in the morning." Okay, what? And it was only at that point, she says, "There's the only reason, it's not my pub, so I'm just helping it. She said, the only reason it's so busy tonight, they're all drug dealers and thieves in there." She said that they burnt the other pub in the village down last weekend. So
Yeah.
I was still kind napped,
Yeah.
but I didn't sleep very well that night.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was East Yorkshire's scary pub.
Yeah. So as you can see, I've just put a dollop on, and however much icing you want to put in. And
I don't know if I'm too much or too little, but
it's okay. And then all you're doing is popping the tops back on. And when I made them on my trial the last time, I actually drizzled them with white chocolate. But I ran out of white chocolate halfway through, so I sprinkled icing sugar over the rest. And I actually preferred it with the icing sugar. So I think that's what we'll do.
I think so, because there's
time.
quite a lot of sweetness in it.
Yes. And so do you think you would do that again? You would do the walk into Rome or a long walk again? Have you got any plans for another one?
I haven't got any specific plans, and I mean we've barely touched the sides of the things that happened to me on that trip. And my conclusion is, how do I top it?
Right.
Do I have to walk further than 2,009 miles? The things, all the good things that happened to me, and the people that I met, and the places I saw, how could I better that? I'm not saying that I wouldn't do another long walk again, but I've not got any specific plans at the moment for it. We'll see.
Yeah.
My adventure at the moment is writing the book. I've done 20 talks.
Right.
And I'm enjoying telling people the stories and inspiring people from what I've been feedback.
Yes.
And that's been really good because it's kept it alive even in my head.
Yeah.
The trip. I have 7 more already booked for this year. So, and writing the book, that is a whole new adventure that I never had any intentions of doing. Mm-hmm. So yes, we'll see.
I think it'll be a good book.
You think so?
Yeah. So you went from the UK.
I did.
And then you crossed over to France.
Hmm?
Yep. And eventually. So which countries did you go through then? You went to France?
Scotland, England, France, into Switzerland.
Okay.
And there were some bumps in Switzerland called the Alps.
Yep.
And then over the Alps and down into Italy. So it was 2 months in the UK, about best part of 2 months in France, 2 or 3 weeks overall in Switzerland, and then 2 months in Italy.
Okay. And it culminated with Rome.
Yes.
And not just Rome.
A very special meeting that I didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
About a month before I got to Rome, my friends were starting to plan, come over to see me at the finish line and celebrate with me in Rome. And I also got word at that point that my 94-year-old godfather, who has dementia, he had been following me. He had been video calling with his daughter every couple of weeks. Where was I? And loving the stories. And he decided that he was coming to Rome to see me when I was in Rome. And I knew that his daughter had managed to get us tickets for the general audience, which is every Wednesday. The Pope says a mass and you see the big crowds in the square, St Peter's Square. So I was excited that Uncle Desmond and I had tickets, the two of us, and he was going to be coming with me to see the Pope. On the Tuesday before the day before the audience, everybody that has a ticket has to go and collect the tickets at the St Peter's, and I went to collect their tickets, and it was only at that point that I discovered I'm being presented to Pope Francis.
Excellent.
The Swiss guard was saying this to me, and I, first of all, what? But then my next immediate panic was, but what about Uncle Desmond? I can't say, oh, you can go to the audience, I'm going off to meet the Pope. So I just said to the Swiss guard, who knows Uncle Desmond well, but what about Uncle Desmond? And he said, is he in a wheelchair? And he doesn't normally have a wheelchair, but we had hired one for the week.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, we've got a wheelchair. And he said, that's fine, he can come with you. So the two of us, and actually we sneaked Agnes's daughter in as well, and the three of us then were up, and we were only about five or so rows when the Pope was saying the Mass to the massive crowd down there, and then he came round and a nice big handshake and a big beaming smile, and carried on along. So that was that's why I'm saying about how do you top it? I'm not going to have the Pope shake my hand at the end of another big long walk like that.
Maybe it has to be something totally different. Yeah. But meanwhile, we have now finished.
Lovely.
Our Girvan coconut mint choc chip delights.
Lovely.
Yep. And we are going to go away now, and we're going to. I'm going to calm myself after the technical problems and worrying about how I'm going to sort these videos, but it'll all come together. So we're going to go away, and we're going to have some of Mr. M's homemade soup.
I've heard about this.
And then we will come back and we'll have a final chat while we actually taste.
I'm looking forward to that.
So we will see you in a bit.